Hello Seahawks, and welcome to The Current. I'm Nathan, and today we'll be talking to Elijah Cuffee. He is an Assistant Director of Sports Performance for UNCW Athletics. Elijah is responsible for training the men's basketball, beach volleyball, and cross-country teams. He is a former college basketball player and played for 4 years at Liberty University, winning over 100 games. We can't wait to talk to Elijah today and have you all meet him. Here's our interviewer, Amelia, with this week's guest.
Thanks, Nathan. I'm here with Elijah, and I'm so excited for him to meet you all. Elijah, thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to be here. All right, let's go ahead and get into some questions. First off, I wanted to ask how you arrived at your time here at UNCW.
How I arrived?
How did you get into your role?
Yeah, I would say that how I got to UNCW is just kind of the normal path of a strength coach, just kind of going through the internship route at another school, and then hearing about what they're doing over here and with the basketball program. I was able to kind of get connected with the coaches and find my way onto the staff here this year.
Can you tell me a little bit about your internship?
The internship, I did my internship at Liberty University. I did under 2 different coaches. One is at University of Alabama now with the men's basketball team, and then the other one's still currently at Liberty. That was for a total of about 2.5 years.
Awesome. That's really great. We're happy to have you here. So when did you discover that you wanted to work in the field of exercise science and sport performance?
I believe I did that during my time at Liberty. It was probably about my sophomore year. I was still trying to figure out what major I wanted to go into, and then just after a couple conversations with my current, well, at the time, the current strength coach, just talking to him about his passion for the strength conditioning field and just my interest in science, and just kind of like ended up meshing into one.
So that's great. So what do you do as the Assistant Director of Sports Performance here at UNCW?
Currently, I oversee about 3 teams, the beach volleyball team, the men's basketball, and the cross-country team. And then I also help with the internship program in our department. So we bring in about 4 to 6 interns a semester, kind of show them the ropes of strength and conditioning, and then from there, hopefully able to send them out to some other schools and progress into their sports performance career.
Awesome. So what does a little bit of your day-to-day life look like?
A little bit would probably be like I get on campus earlier in the morning, set up the weight room, usually have a team. Usually in the mornings it's probably one of my non-basketball teams, so it'll be either cross-country or beach volleyball. We'll have like an early morning session. Then I'll have another group of theirs come in the afternoon, and we'll have another session. And then apart from that, basketball is usually in the afternoons. We have practice and a lift session in the afternoons.
Awesome. Thank you for explaining a little bit more about that. So let's talk a little bit more about your time at Liberty as a player. Are there any lessons or experiences you took away from your time playing at Liberty that you apply to your work now as a strength coach here at UNCW?
I think that's probably like the main benefit of being an athlete that was able to play. I'm able to take a lot of what I learned during my time of playing and being able to apply it now on this side of it. I think a lot of what I try to do and try to get back to the players is like the mental side of it, the mental health side of it, and the just wearing the job of being a student athlete well, being able to kind of like go through those ups and downs of the season, and then being able to withstand that mentally. I think that's kind of the main thing I got from Liberty, and then trying to instill that into the guys here.
Yeah, I think that's a really special connection that you can make with the players, especially as someone who has been a player, getting to really navigate those mental areas with your players as well. I think that's a really great connection that you have. So you went to March Madness twice in your career. What was that experience like?
It was great. The first one wasn't as enjoyable for me because I would say both were very enjoyable. I wouldn't say it wasn't enjoyable. I would say that the second one was much more enjoyable just because it was like my senior trip. I feel like me and my teammates were the ones that helped us get there. By the time you're at the end of your career, you kind of want to be able to do it so that you can say you were the one, or that you were the reason that your team was able to get there. Not the entire reason, but a major contributor to it. So that second one felt a lot sweeter, and then going through and having to do like the interview processes and all that kind of stuff up there was just really fun. I would say that's probably the reason why I enjoyed the second one more. I felt like I was more involved in the second one.
Yeah, so what do those player connections look like for you? What does it look like to work in that team with the people that you're playing with?
At Liberty or here currently?
In general, but specifically on Liberty, especially with March Madness as well, what does that look like for you?
For me, I think when I was at Liberty, my main thing was just being the guy that was able to bring energy every day. Not necessarily great communicator. I was always just like, I would get involved in my emotions, but I think that I was able to connect people through my energy. I had a lot of teammates that were really good at communicating, so they were able to keep us kind of balanced out with their great communication, and then some of us had great energy, and somehow we were able to mold it together to work. But yeah.
That's really great. So moving back to your role here at UNCW, you work with 3 different teams on very different strength requirements. How do you create certain plans for each team so that they can perform the best they can?
I think a lot of it is player relative, or athlete relative. So like for cross country, a lot of those athletes, we've had a lot of discussions about what they enjoy doing in the weight room, and then what they find beneficial, and then what actually works, like what I would say would actually work. So we kind of find a medium there from those different concepts, and then from there we're able to like establish a program. So like programs do look different. Like obviously, cross country is a much different sport than beach volleyball, so we have to attack certain aspects of differently. So the benefit of 2 of the sports I have, beach volleyball and basketball, they are very similar. They just strength and power sports. When it comes to our side of it, we don't really look at it as far as what they're doing on the court per se with the ball, like the skill set. It's more so the movements they go on, the movements they take on the court. So I think that's probably more important than being too worried about the differences of the sport.
I think that's really insightful. So a lot of concern, especially among student athletes, is the use of performance-enhancing drugs. Can you give us a little bit of insight about how performance-enhancing drugs can impact a student athlete's mental or physical well-being, especially on game and then also in school?
I think mentally, performance PEDs are like, I think that's probably where the most negative impact is had. I think that whenever you partake in PEDs, you're now able to reach a certain level of performance that's not realistic to your potential. So then once you've reached that potential, that performance, that higher level of performance, now you have that expectation of being able to touch that level of performance no matter the situation. So I think that once we've reached that peak, it's hard to say like, let's get back to that peak, and then that peak won't be as enjoyable the next time. So I think that it's like, the benefit is not worth the game, like not worth the, what's the saying? The risk isn't worth the reward there. So like, I don't think that the mental warfare that you undergo after you partake in some PEDs of the performance side of it, I don't think that risk is worth the reward of performing good. And then as far as physically goes, most PEDs negatively affect, I'm sorry for stuttering. Most PEDs negatively affect some type of organ in your body. So like, whether it is promoting muscle building or whatever it is, strength, power, whatever it is promoting, it is taking away from something else. So by you partaking in an enhancing drug, your body is now saying that I don't need to produce that in some instances. So then now another part of your body takes a step back in producing that. So not only does it affect you physically and how you are able to like move on, but I think it mentally is probably the more important one that I would address first.
Perfect. Thank you for giving us a little bit of your insight on that, and especially using the term mental warfare. Some very strong language, so thank you for using that. On a more lighthearted note, what are your favorite exercises to do to naturally build up your strength endurance?
For strength endurance, I would say that me personally, I walk a lot. Like I'll go on a walk probably four or 5 times a week in the afternoons. So I would say, obviously walking is probably my version of endurance. For an athlete, that would be different. Maybe it's a jog, maybe that's a bike. Those are probably the most basic ones as far as endurance goes. Favorite exercises in the gym, I could say would probably be like, I love doing the front squat. I love doing split squats, and I'm learning to love like upper body exercises. I'm not a huge fan of them, but I'm learning to love them. So.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
Thank you for that. So what are some tips or tricks that might help students who are entering working out, who may be a little nervous to start? How can they start improving their strength?
I would say just going. Like I saw something the other day. 5 years from now, you wouldn't say that today's workout is the reason why you got stronger, but you'll be happy that you went today just by going. So you won't really remember whether you worked out today or not, but you'll be happy in 5 years from now by forming that habit of working out. So I think that just knowing that even if you don't know what to do, just going in there and messing around is probably more beneficial than really not doing anything. So I would say just getting in there is probably more beneficial.
Well, thank you for that little note of motivation for any of our watchers. Now it's time for Wave Watch. We'll hear more from Elijah in a minute, but first, here's Nathan to tell us a little bit more about ways for students to stay active on campus, as well as the upcoming seasons for Elijah's teams.
Thanks, Amelia, and welcome to Wave Watch. If you want to start your own fitness journey, the Student Rec Center offers both group and individual fitness training as well as fitness consultations. More information can be found on their university webpage. The Cross Country Conference Championship meet is coming up on October 27th, where both the men's and women's teams will look to claim the Coastal Athletic Conference crown. The men's basketball season kicks off on November 6th with a home game against Mount Olive. This season will be one to watch as the Seahawks try to get back to the CAA championship game and walk away with the title to return to the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2017. Lastly, the UNCW beach volleyball team doesn't start their season until the spring, but there's no doubt they are working hard with Elijah leading up to their season. Back to you, Amelia.
Thanks, Nathan. Welcome to Natty or Not, the game show where you decide if someone has built their physique naturally or has used performance-enhancing drugs. All right, what do we think about our first picture here? Natty or not?
I would say he's had plenty of time to get that body, so I would say natty. It doesn't look too bad, but it looks skeptical because of his age. So I don't know. I'll say I'll say not. There's no way.
All right, so other than his age, is there anything that gives it away?
The chest is too tight.
Chest is too tight?
His chest is way too tight. But the skin's loose on the stomach, so it throws me off, but I would say not.
All right, you are correct.
Okay.
This is steroids.
There we go.
All right, so for our next photo, what do we think? Natty or not?
No shot. No shot. The age is giving them up for these guys. Their age, and then the tight skin. Yeah, and then his biceps. Yeah, no, that's not.
Is there anything in the face that gives it away other than his age? Like, is there a specific way that you can tell, even if someone has a shirt on, that they're natural or not?
If someone has a shirt on and they're natural, I don't know, because there are some like weird body types out there. People can get to certain weird body types. That's definitely not just because of the age. Like,
right.
His skin's too tight.
All right, wrong. He is natural.
What?
That's right. All right, for our next photo, what do we think? Natural or not?
Not. Right? Not. Her shoulders, look at the veins in her shoulders. Look at the veins on her forearms. That's not a natural body.
All right, but we're seeing in the stomach, she's got some defined abs. Does that throw it off a little bit?
I think I'm more distracted with the shoulders, to be honest. Like the trap here, look how, that's just so huge.
All right.
I don't think that's natural.
You are correct. That is not natural.
There we go.
Steroid use.
There we go.
All right, so for our next photo, what do we think, natural or not?
Only because I think I know this guy. This is a famous streamer maybe, and I think he claims he's. I think the joke is that he claims he's not natural, but I think he is, or maybe the other way around. But I would say not natural just because of the veins and the way he looks. But he could very well have gotten that. But he's also young, so then I would say I don't know if he's gotten that. So I would say not natural. I would say not natural.
You are right. That is steroid use.
There we go.
All right. So for our next photo, what do we think? Natural or not?
I'll say natural.
What gives that away?
Not too much definition. I think that her shoulders, I think the way she's standing makes her look bigger than what she actually is, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's natural. That's like regular. That's normal.
You are correct. That is natural. So for our next photo, what are we thinking? Natural or not?
Well, I don't know what movie that's from, but that's natural. I think. I hope so.
What kind of gives that away? Especially like in filming? That's a little more difficult to
to
figure
be able
out.
to get to that. I would say it looks pretty natural just because the way he's moving. But it could very well, like being the fact that it's in Hollywood, it could very well have had to be PEDs to get to that position. But I would say natural.
You are correct. That is natural. So for our next photo, what are we thinking? Natural or not?
That's 100% natural. That's 100% natural. I've seen that before. Live action, 2 times. Yeah.
Definitely. So what gives that away? He seems very buff. I don't know. A lot of definition up here.
He looks a lot like what I imagine Coach Kurt Kanaski looked like when he was younger for the men's basketball team. So I think that's probably an older picture of him. That might be him.
You are correct. That is natural. Comes with the superhero ability to lift trains.
Yeah.
So awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on our show today. We've loved having you, and I'm sure our viewers will love watching this. So thank you so much for coming on. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me. Yep, of course.
Well, that's all we have for today. Thanks again to Elijah for being our guest, and we'll see you all next time.